This year was still 1977, and Xiangjiang reignited the engine of rapid development. This year, Tiaojingling was still one of the poorest areas in Xiangjiang. This year, a soul from the 21st century came here. This year, the development trajectory of Xiangjiang and even the world began to deviate. Born poor, that unwilling heart stirred up the wind and clouds. Half a century later, looking back suddenly, a huge wealth empire had already been established. Keywords of the novel. Crossing the Fragrant River. Empire of wealth without pop-ups, Crossing the Fragrant River. Empire of Wealth Complete Collection Download, Crossing the Fragrant River. Empire of Wealth Latest Chapter Reading. Chapter 1. Tiaojingling, for collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Tiaojingling, for collection. Although located on the Xiangjiang River, this place seems out of place with the bustling Xiangjiang River, and it seems to be a forgotten place in this city. Other places are magnificent skyscrapers, while here it appears impoverished and backward everywhere. Tiaojing Ridge, in the early 1950s, was a refugee camp for accommodating the fallen soldiers. As time passed, everything that could be moved away was left, leaving only some impoverished families. Li Jianhui has been living here with his mother, one brother, and 3 sisters since he was born. As for his father, when he was a child, he often heard his mother Lu Shaowan say that he had gone to faraway places. It wasn't until later when he became sensible that he realized that Li Jianhui had already died on the streets when he was over 2 years old. Li Minglin, from Guicheng, Sichuan province, was captured as a strong soldier at the age of 15 in 1942, and thus entered the army, participating in multiple anti-Japanese campaigns. Time has changed, and in 1950, he fled the Xiangjiang River and entered the Tiaojingling refugee camp. Due to not having a high position in the military, there was no opportunity to be taken to Baodao, so I had to stay at the An family in Xiangjiang to settle down. In the 1960s, the Independent Commission Against Corruption, ICAC, had not yet been established, and various clubs were rampant. One of them was the 14K, and these clubs were closely related to Tiaojingling. Most of the members were from the group of defeated soldiers in Tiaojingling, and Li Minglin was also one of them. This has also made it even worse for this already impoverished family, which can only rely on government subsidies and Lu Xiaojuan's hard work to barely survive. Fortunately, all the hardships have been endured. On July 25, 1977, at the age of only 16, Li Jianhui's reputation spread throughout Xiangjiang. Many well-known media outlets from Xiangjiang have come to this backward place just to interview another Xiangjiang martial arts master who is hailed as Jin Yong's successor. The book Kunlun has become popular in Xiangjiang, and just one book has made it the second martial arts figure in Xiangjiang. The high praise from the media, the discussions in the community, the age of 16, the impoverished family, and the almost forgotten birthplace are all the news that major media want. Kunlun should not have appeared in this era, but due to the arrival of a soul and its integration into Li Jianhui's body, this new martial arts masterpiece was also born several decades ahead of schedule. As night fell, the hustle and bustle of the day came to a halt, and Li Jianhui discussed moving with his mother. In fact, as early as the beginning of the year, the eldest sister purchased an 800-square-foot house for her family in Huihong. With the eldest brother studying in Canada and the second sister studying in England, this house was enough for him, his mother, and the third sister to live in. However, considering that Li Jianhui was still in grade 5 at Tiaojingling High School and Li Chuanrong was still in grade 7 at Tiaojingling High School, Lu Shaowan temporarily did not choose to move to Huihong. Li Chuanxue, the older sister, is 23 years old this year. After graduating from Form 5, she entered the workforce and married a wealthy businessman who is more than 10 years older than herself in order to help her family. This enabled the eldest brother and second sister to have the money to study abroad, while the third sister and he were able to study at school with peace of mind. At the beginning of the year, we purchased a house for them worth over 500,000 Hong Kong dollars, allowing them to move out of that slum. It can be said that Li Chunxue sacrificed her love and happiness to enable them to have such an environment. Sometimes Li Jianhui also regrets traveling too late. If it could have been a few years earlier, his elder sister wouldn't have made such a big sacrifice. Unfortunately, he didn't travel back until after the exam ended on May 5 last month. The reason why the fusion of memory can become the dominant body is mainly because Li Jianhui, who was previously not ideal in exams, was basically unable to attend Form 6. He felt sorry for the expectations of his mother and elder sister. Under this pressure, his heart did not breathe and his soul was somewhat scattered, which helped him become the one he came from. Accepted this memory, although my physical learning was a bit poor, my body was quite good, and I also learned Wing Chun. It is said that snakes have their own way, and mice have their own way. There are countless connections between Tiaojingling Ridge, Xiangjiang 14K, and Xinjiang. By leveraging the connections of Xiangjiang, a former friend of Li Jianhui's father and a spokesperson at Tiaojingling, his novel, Kunlun, was paired with the Ma family of Dongfang Daily. The novel was not only serialized in Dongfang Daily, but also offered a decent price. From June 10 to now, it has been serialized in the Oriental Daily for 45 days, making Kunlun the best-rated novel by Xiangjiang this year, and the sales of the Oriental Daily have set a new record. At the age of only 16, he was even named the new generation martial arts master of Xiangjiang by Dongfang Daily. It is also because of Dongfang Daily that multiple media outlets have come to Tiaojingling today. Xiangjiang media has always watched the excitement without regard for the big picture, and regardless of whether the 16-year-old boy can bear this reputation, now it is trying to praise it as much as possible. If Li Jianhui is just a flash in the pan, then they will naturally go to hell. Since he has entered such an era, he naturally hopes to make a career, although it is not good to rely on some forces, and he is also aware of the situation of the Ma family in his heart. But in order to quickly accumulate their own wealth and avoid being threatened by certain forces, some relationships still need to be maintained and borrowed. Few people outside know that Li Jianhui is a disciple of Xiangjiang, and Wing Chun Quan is passed down by Xiangjiang. However, Xiangjiang only taught him Wing Chun Quan and strictly prohibited him from joining various characters. Even the high-level officials under Yang's banner were unaware that their leader had a disciple named Li Jianhui. Speaking of which, Xiangjiang can also be considered a tragedy of an era. Some things are not something he can choose. When they were founded, they were ordered by the upper echelons. Later on, some things were not something they didn't do if they wanted to, let alone something they could quit if they wanted to. The only thing they have now is to prevent their younger generation from entering here, so that they can be upright and upright. Li Jianhui's father and Xiangjiang can be said to have crawled out of a pile of dead people, and because Li Jianhui and Xiangjiang's second daughter, Qixi, were born in the same year, the two families even arranged for a baby marriage at that time. Due to this relationship, after Li Mingling's death for so many years, the family lived in Tiaojingling Ridge, and Lu Xiaowan and her several children were never harassed alone. If it weren't for Lu Xiaojuan's strength and unwillingness to accept Xiangjiang's financial assistance, the Li family would have been able to move out of Tiaojingling long ago. In Lu Xiaojuan's opinion, Xiangjiang's money came from an improper source. Accepting his gifts will only harm his family in the future. The Li siblings have been strictly controlled since childhood and are absolutely not allowed to hang out with those unscrupulous people, let alone follow Li Mingling's old path and join any clubs or organizations. She also didn't know that Li Jianhui was learning Wing Chun with Xiangjiang, otherwise Li Jianhui wouldn't know how to be nagged every day. However, Lu Xiaowan has a special fondness for Qixi. Every time Qixi comes, she smiles and seems to have the intention of treating her as a daughter. In law. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Li Chunxue, recommended. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Li Chunxue, recommended. Li Jianhui, who was busy decorating his new home, didn't pay much attention to the reports from major media outlets in Xiangjiang. Even the derogatory comments made by Jean and I, who are known as the four great talents of Xiangjiang, in Ming Pao didn't pay much attention. Because his father died early, and his mother was busy making money to maintain the family's livelihood, Li Jianhui's brothers and sisters were mainly cared for by the eldest sister. The elder sister Ru mother described Li Chunxue just right. On this day of moving into a new home, Li Chunxue naturally came here. In addition to helping the family purchase some furniture and supplies, the most important thing was to arrange a way out for Li Jianhui. Li Jianhui, who has no hope of studying preparatory courses, will enter society, and now Li Jianhui is only 16 years old. How can Li Chunxue bear to have her little brother wandering around alone? Even though Li Jianhui has gained fame in the past few days and reportedly earns over 20,000 yuan per month, she is still not very confident. After all, this is not stable at all. Although this book can earn a lot of money, no one can guarantee that the next book will also be so popular. She hopes her younger brother has a stable job, and it would be best to marry Chen Sini when the time comes. Even if the Chen family does not agree to this marriage in the future, with this house and a stable job, the younger brother can still find a good wife. While Lu Xiaowan was cooking dinner in the kitchen, Li Chunxue smiled and said, "Time flies so fast. In the blink of an eye, my little brother has also grown up and started making money now. I've been working hard for years, big sister. Big brother has also started his internship this month. From now on, our family doesn't need you and mom to work hard to support us." Li Jianhui is very clear that if it weren't for his elder sister supporting this family in recent years, his elder brother and younger sister wouldn't have the funds to support his study abroad, and his third sister and he wouldn't have been able to focus on studying at school. He was unable to attend Form 6, but his third sister did very well this time. Although she couldn't compare with his older brother and second sister, she also received an admission letter from Xiangjiang University. Little brother, taking care of your growth is the responsibility of the elder sister. Although it may be a bit hard, seeing that each of you has achieved very good results, the elder sister is happy from the bottom of her heart. You don't have to worry about the tuition and living expenses of your second and third sisters. Big sister can still support them here, and you don't need to consider this aspect. Now let's mainly talk about you. What are your thoughts on the future third sister? Li Chunrong also looked at Li Jianhui. Compared to Li Chunxue, who had been living at home for a long time, she could better feel the changes in her younger brother over the past month. If it weren't for spending time together day and night, and being extremely familiar with my younger brother's appearance and voice, she would have suspected that someone else had changed. She knows too much about my grades, but she doesn't quite believe in writing such a popular novel at that level. It's just the situation at home, otherwise he would suspect that this novel was written by someone else for his younger brother. Sister, currently I have completed the novel, Kunlun, and have received a payment of over 170,000 Hong Kong dollars. The Oriental Daily has also contacted the publishing house and is expected to release 5 volumes. The first volume will be available for sale on August 1st. Due to Uncle Chen's relationship, the price offered by the Ma family is quite good, at 10% before tax. There should be a good profit then. Although Li Chunxue heard that little brother's novel is more profitable, and some media have compared it to the 4 great talented scholars of Xiangjiang, she did not expect it to be so profitable. Just on the newspaper side, there is a profit of over 170,000 Hong Kong dollars, and once there is a publishing frenzy, future profits will be much higher than on the newspaper side. And she knows that once the publication goes smoothly, film and television copyrights will not be a problem. Nowadays, the competition among the 3 major TV stations is quite fierce, and a popular martial arts novel will definitely not be ignored by the senior management of the 3 stations. After pondering for a while, Li Chunxue spoke up and asked, "Are you planning to take the path of novel creation in the future?" Li Jianhui has no plans to learn from several talented scholars such as Jin and I. Novels are just a means for him to accumulate wealth. With the memories of his past life, he has too many opportunities to make money, and he will not waste this opportunity. Writing a novel is only temporary. I already have plans for the future, but there is still some funding shortage. I need to wait a bit longer. What makes the most money is undoubtedly games. So many experiences and novels from previous lives are not in vain. In this era, Super Mario, Tetris, Tank Wars, Contra, and others have not yet emerged. Even if he doesn't know much about game production, as long as there is talent, he can bring out his creativity, and I believe he can definitely develop games. If it weren't for his fear of Liu Shaowan and Li Chunxue, he would have gone to borrow money from his master Xiangjiang to establish a game company. Tell big sister, what are you planning to do? In recent years, the gaming industry has developed very rapidly, and American companies such as Atari, RB Sega, and Nintendo have all developed very well. I have some thoughts on this aspect. Li Chunxue immediately spoke out to dissuade Li Jianhui as soon as he finished speaking. Xiangjiang is a desert in the gaming industry, and she doesn't want her little brother to lose all the money he earns here. Unfortunately, Li Jianhui is no longer the same little brother who once obeyed her. Even though she has explained a lot of truth, it still cannot change Li Jianhui's determination to enter the gaming industry. This also made Li Chunxue, who had always regarded herself as the head of the family, very angry. Fortunately, Liu Shaowan called a few siblings in the kitchen to prepare food, which prevented the situation from becoming deadlocked. Although dissatisfied with Li Jianhui's decision to enter the gaming industry, the family still enjoyed themselves at the dinner table. Li Chunxue instructed Liu Shaowan not to go out and work hard anymore. Li Jianyang and Li Jianhui do not need any more money from them now. She can be responsible for the support of Li Chunmei and Li Chunrong's learning and living expenses, as well as Liu Xiaozhuan's living expenses. Li Jianhui also smiled and said, "Mom, now I'm also starting to make money. You don't have to worry about us. You don't have to wake up early and work late every day to earn that hard money." Liu Shaowan knows the filial piety of her daughter and son, because when she gave birth to Li Chunxue, she was only 18 years old, and now she is only 41 years old. She is not used to letting her idol at home like this. Moreover, she is still young now and hopes to earn some money. Her eldest daughter has already helped the family enough, and she does not want to become a burden on her eldest daughter herself. Chunxue and Jianhui, Mom is still young and plans to attend classes for a few years. You don't have to worry about me anymore. After Jianyang and Jianhui have children, Mom will take care of them at home. Li Chunxue and her siblings are all aware of Liu Xiaozhuan's personality and know that they cannot persuade her now, so they can only temporarily put this matter aside. Li Jianhui felt even more urgent about the gaming company in his heart. He knew that only when he had a huge wealth would Liu Shaowan feel at ease and not think about going out to work. At the end of this year, this is the deadline he has set himself. Before the end of the year, he must establish the game company. Next summer, the first game will be launched on the market. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Ni Frames Wrath. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Ni Frames Wrath. After becoming famous, the inevitable paparazzi team comes along. In a place like Xiangjiang, it is difficult for celebrities to talk about privacy and freedom. At that time, Li Jianhui was also enjoying the treatment of a big star, and as soon as he left, he welcomed reporters from multiple media outlets. Moreover, these journalists clearly do not mind the big picture by watching the excitement, and even incite and stir up trouble, putting Li Jianhui and Jin Ni in opposition. There is a reason why Dongfang Daily can become a giant of Xiangjiang newspaper, and the combat effectiveness of its reporters is enough to demonstrate its strong combat effectiveness. Regardless of whether Li Jianhui was willing to accept an interview or not, he immediately spoke up when he came to his side and said, "Li Sheng, I don't know if you have read yesterday's Ming Pao. What is your opinion on Ni Fang, one of the 4 great talents of Xiangjiang?" Because Dongfang Daily took the lead in praising Li Jianhui very high, revealing that Jin Yong has become a thing of the past, and the crown of the first person in Xiangjiang martial arts will also be worn by Li Jianhui. This naturally caused some people's dissatisfaction. Jin Yong was unclear about his opinions, and Ni Fang, who was also one of the four great talents and had been friends with Jin Yong for many years, jumped out first. What is fleeting, what doesn't matter, what is arrogant, and so on, these criticisms and even derogatory words and phrases have been used by Li Jianhui. Of course, the main issue here is still the issue of interests. As one of the four great talents of Xiangjiang, Ni Fang's novels are also serialized in Ming Pao, and the manuscript fee is more than twice that of Li Jianhui, reaching 350 Hong Kong dollars per 1,000 words. Nowadays, the sales volume of newspapers has surpassed that of Ming Pao by Dongfang Daily, and the popularity of Kunlun is far higher than Ni Fang's Wesley series novels. This is not just a struggle for fame, but also a struggle for profit. Ni Kuang obviously doesn't want to be stepped on by a newcomer. Although Li Jianhui did not take this talented person seriously, Ni Fang's comments in Ming Pao made him quite unhappy, and the novel is about to be published, so he also hopes to add some popularity to his book. Therefore, he responded, "I have great respect for Jin Yong. He is a legendary figure in the world of martial arts novels in Xiangjiang. I grew up reading the novels of Master Jin Yong. As for Ni Fang, I'm very sorry. If it weren't for you mentioning it now, I wouldn't have known such a person." The reporters present were very excited, and they were afraid that Li Jianhui would not respond. With these words, I believe there will be no shortage of topics for the next week. They have already come up with countless titles, such as, "Who is Ni Kuang? The new generation of martial arts masters ignores the four great talented scholars. Are the four great talented scholars true to their names, young and reckless? Can we take on the title of the new generation of martial arts masters," etc. Ni Fang, who was having lunch, lost his appetite in an instant while watching the news on TVB. Looking at the young figure, the words that didn't even bother him made him angry. He, who has been famous for many years, has always been a respected figure in the literary world of Xiangjiang. Ranking among the four great talents has even elevated him to the top of the Xiangjiang literary world, allowing him to overlook the literary elites of Xiangjiang. Today, a newcomer who has just entered literary creation for just over a month surprisingly showed no respect or even ignored him in front of the Xiangjiang media. If this young man's arrogance cannot be suppressed, he cannot calm his anger. Putting down his chopsticks, Ni Fang went straight to the phone and started calling his close friend, hoping to make Li Jianhui the public enemy of the famous novel writer in Xiangjiang Baodao. Famous figures in Xiangjiang, such as Jin Yong, Gu Long, Huang Zhan, Kai Lan, and Ni Yishu, have all received calls from Ni Fang. Apart from Huang Zhan, several others have promised to speak out in support of Ni Fang. For a moment, the media industry in Xiangjiang was bustling, with Dongfang Daily leading the way in praising Li Jianhui, belittling Ni Fang and even Jin Yong, and helping Li Jianhui ascend to the altar. The media, led by Ming Pao, constantly belittles Li Jianhui and provides a platform for Ni Fang. Not only in the media, but also in the public, there are discussions. Ni Kuang and even Jin Yonggulong have a large number of loyal fans in Xiangjiang. Although Kunlun has accumulated many loyal fans in the past month, there is still a considerable gap compared to these loyal fans. Even some radical fans such as Ni Fang have initiated activities to boycott Kunlun and Dongfang Daily. Fortunately, these people are already solid supporters of Ming Pao and have hardly purchased Dongfang Daily, so they have not had a significant impact on the sales of Dongfang Daily. At the Chen family villa, a girl in white smiled and said, "Brother Jian Hui, look, this Oriental daily almost compared you to a composition song star." Due to the fusion of his predecessor's memories, his emotions also merged into his soul, and his predecessor's feelings for the beautiful girl in front of him deeply influenced him. Chen Sini is one of the top 5 campus beauties of Merino College, High School, along with the highly renowned Guan Jiehui in the future. Just 2 months younger than Li Jianhui, the two of them have been engaged in a child relationship since childhood because they often learn Wing Chun with Chen Zhiyong. They have been playing together since childhood and have been childhood sweethearts without any guesses, describing them as these two. And the relationship between the two is very good, there is no scene of repentance, nor is there just a sibling dispute. Just take a look at these news, don't take them too seriously. Today they can praise you to the sky, and tomorrow they can trample you to the ground. If it weren't for the release of the first volume of Kunlun next Monday, I wouldn't have accepted an interview. Qixi approached Li Jianhui and carefully looked at him with her eyes. She was somewhat surprised and said, "Brother Jianhui, you have changed so much in the past month. You didn't know this trick before." Li Jianhui naturally understood the situation of his predecessor and was straightforward, without any understanding of calculations. This month or so was indeed quite abrupt for his predecessor, just for the accumulation of funds. He couldn't care too much. As time passed, he believed that people around him would get used to his changes. "Cinny, I can't change. Learning is hopeless. If I don't earn more money, how can I marry you back home in the future?" Although the two of them have arranged a baby marriage and their relationship is also good, Lang has feelings and intends to be a concubine. It's just that Qixi is only 16 years old, and Li Jianhui's explicit words make her a bit shy. "Jianhui, I'm ignoring you." After speaking, Qixi walked towards the kitchen, obviously embarrassed to stay in the living room with Li Jianhui. I don't know if Xiangjiang has been paying attention to this young couple. As soon as Qixi entered the kitchen, she came to the living room. "Jianhui, I am very satisfied with your current performance. Cinny is following you, and I am very confident." The marriage between Li Jianhui and Qixi was decided 16 years ago, and even though Li Jianhui's family has been very poor for many years, Xiangjiang never considered vetoing this marriage. But after all, he is his own daughter, and he is unwilling to let his daughter marry Li Jianhui in the future to suffer. Therefore, he specially taught Li Jianhui Wing Chun Quan and prepared a start-up fund for the two. He just didn't expect that before he even made a move, Li Jianhui had already gained a considerable reputation, and the money he earned was not worth mentioning compared to him. But this money comes clean and can be used with peace of mind, so there's no need to worry. If he had some worries before, now he can confidently hand over his daughter to Li Jianhui. Seeking collection, seeking recommended tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Pride at Work. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Pride at Work. Although Li Jianhui urgently needed funds to launch his entrepreneurial plan, he ultimately did not accept the entrepreneurial funds prepared by Xiangjiang for him. Even though this money has already been laundered through some means, he is still unwilling to accept it. He does not want his starting capital to become the handle of the future industry. "I don't want everyone to talk about themselves in the future, and I don't want the outside world to think that my industry developed through Xiangjiang. Don't be fooled by Xiangjiang and other prominent figures who still hold great authority. In 20 years, the vast majority will not have a good ending." Li Jianhui, who comes from later generations, is very clear about the impact of image on a company, and he will never leave a handle on his opponents. Xiangjiang listened to Li Jianhui's refusal to provide him with 5 million Hong Kong dollars in entrepreneurial funds, and various thoughts suddenly emerged in his heart. He said in a deep voice, "Jianhui, you and Cinny were married the year you were born. I have always regarded you as my son. Law. This money is prepared for you and Cinny, as well as Cinny's dowry. Aren't you prepared to accept this marriage, Master? Cinny and I have had a good relationship since we were young. How could I possibly not acknowledge this marriage? My wife would only be Cinny." Upon hearing Li Jianhui's response, Xiangjiang let go of some of his anger and thoughts, but he didn't understand why Li Jianhui was unwilling to accept his financial assistance for his entrepreneurship since he didn't have the heart to regret his marriage. "There is no legal problem with this 5 million, even if something happens to oneself in the future, it will not affect my daughter and Li Jianhui." The two argued for nearly half an hour over this 5 million yuan, one insisting on giving, and the other not wanting it. "You bastard, Do you feel like your wings have grown hard and you don't listen to your master when you gain some fame? During this period, 5 million Hong Kong dollars was enough to make many families struggle for a lifetime. However, after listening to Li Jianhui's entrepreneurial plan and before he married Chen Sini, he gave this fund to himself, which shows how much Chen Zhiyong trusts him. I know master is doing it for me, but we need to focus on the future. I also suggest that you start entering some legitimate industries. Currently, the industry of Yongzi is not on the right path, and it cannot develop in the long run. In the future, it will become a street mouse. If these words were spoken by outsiders, Chen Zhiyong would angrily rebuke the other party for not knowing the superiority of heaven and earth, and even give them a good lesson. This was spoken from his caring disciple and future son-in-law, and he was extremely pleased in his heart. Now he is completely at ease with handing over his daughter to Li Jianhui. He is very clear about what kind of life he is leading in this industry. He has always been unwilling for his children and Li Jianhui to understand and join major clubs, just not wanting these children to repeat his own path. Entering this world, Chen Zhiyong is no longer able to retire just because he wants to. Washing his hands with a golden basin often leads to the downfall of his family. According to his plan, his 6 children, along with Li Jianhui, would all be arranged to go abroad to avoid getting involved in disputes in the future. Now Chen Zhongwu, Chen Zhongwen, and Chen Xinting have been arranged to San Francisco, RB, and Canada. In September, Chen Zhongxue, who is over 18 years old, will also go to Oxford University in England to study. Originally, the 5th grade exam was coming out, and he was already preparing to send Li Jianhui to work at Daoheng Bank. When Chen Sini graduated from 7th grade, he would send the 2 of them out together. Unfortunately, the plan couldn't keep up with the changes. He didn't expect Li Jianhui to quickly rise in the literary world after experiencing academic failure. Moreover, Li Jianhui's plan to take Xiangjiang as the foundation for development has no intention of leaving Xiangjiang, which has forced him to give up some of his previous plans. This time, he took out this 5 million yuan in the hope of accelerating Li Jianhui's development. As long as Li Jianhui has enough strength in his hands, even if he loses his position as a brave person in the future, there will be no danger for the Chen and Li families. However, the ambition of this apprentice and son-in-law is even greater than he imagined, and it is obvious that the Xiangjiang market cannot satisfy his appetite. Otherwise, he would not have scrutinized his image and refused to accept the funds he provided. In order to help Li Jianhui, who is determined to pursue the right path, he can only take other measures to ensure that his entrepreneurial capital has no flaws. After a moment of contemplation, he spoke up and said, "Jianhui, since you don't want this money, I'll hand it over to Sini. If you have any needs in the future, go find Sini yourself. As for your entrepreneurial funding issue, don't wait until the end of the year. Tomorrow morning, you will go to the headquarters of Daoheng Bank, and I will contact Feng Jingyao to provide guarantees for you. The bank will arrange for the loan." Chen Zhiyong has already spoken for this reason, and Li Jianhui naturally has no further reason to refuse. In fact, I don't accept Chen Zhiyong's funds. The corporate image is just an excuse, and more importantly, it is still that self-esteem that is causing trouble. He, who has traveled through time, has his own pride in his heart, and he is unwilling to accept funds that are clearly from an improper source. Despite being forced by the environment, he still refuses to have too much exposure to these clubs. Today he persuaded Chen Zhiyong to do serious business, but he also did not want him to continue to engage in those crooked ways and gain benefits through the pain of others. Li Jianhui doesn't consider himself a saint, but he will definitely not be that villain. A gentleman loves wealth and has a way to obtain it. He likes money, but he will only earn money under reasonable and legal conditions. He will not do the business of blood man Mantu, nor will he accept the money to develop himself. When he walked out of the Chen family gate, it was already past 10 o'clock in the evening. He got into the car that the Chen family was taking him home, and looked at the lovely person standing on the steps of the gate. Li Jianhui's determined heart became even stronger. Chen Zhiyong, sitting on the sofa in the living room, looked at his daughter who came in and said with a smile, "Can't bear Jianhui to leave." "I'm not reluctant, I went into the room to sleep." Faced with her father's words, Chen Sini quickly replied and headed towards her bedroom. Looking at his daughter's somewhat embarrassed expression, Chen Jiong spoke up and said, "Sini, Jianhui brother will be very busy tomorrow. I will arrange a car and driver to serve him 24/7. If you are willing, you can follow Jianhui brother with you every day." Upon hearing these words, Chen Sini's face was filled with joy and she didn't rush back to the bedroom. She sat down on the sofa next to Chen Jiong. With a smile on his face, he said, "Dad, don't worry, I will definitely take good care of Jianhui and guarantee that he won't escape my palm." "Little girl, you've watched too many TV dramas, haven't you? If you really like Jianhui and want to accompany him until old age, don't hold on to Jianhui too tightly. You should learn more from your mother in this regard." "Humph, Jianhui won't learn from you, and now it's not your era anymore. A few years ago, monogamy was already written into the Xiangjiang law. I believe Jianhui will definitely only love me." Chen Jiong did not speak out to undermine his daughter. As a man, he knows very well what a man is, and behind a successful man, there is no shortage of women. He also does not expect Li Jianhui to have only his own daughter as a woman, as long as his daughter is Li Jianhui's only wife. As for Li Jianhui playing outside, he will not interfere. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Signing Conference. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Signing Conference. In the next few days, Li Jianhui was busy with the establishment of the game company. If it weren't for the manager of the publishing house's administrative department calling, he would have forgotten to attend the signing meeting on the 1st. With a good relationship, Li Jianhui not only obtained a loan of 5 million Hong Kong dollars from Daoheng Bank in the last few days of July, but also rented the company office area. As for company registration, it was even simpler on the Xiangjiang side. Li Jianhui only took 1 day to officially register Huihong Games Company. Unfortunately, the current company is just a shell, with no one except him. The office area is also empty, and he needs to arrange decoration and purchase office supplies. In the past few days, Xiangjiang has been bustling with activity, especially in the field of novels, where there is a certain posture of you singing in me appearing. Not to mention the mutual attacks between Li Jianhui and Ni Fong in the newspapers, martial arts masters Gu Long and Liang Yusheng also stepped forward, seemingly telling Li Jianhui that younger generations need to have the consciousness of younger generations, and the martial arts novel world is still dominated by Jin Gu Liang. On the day of the signing of Li Jianhui's Kunlun, Gu Long's blue blood washing silver gun will also be available for sale in Xiangjiang, and Gu Long will personally attend the signing ceremony in Xiangjiang. Liang Yusheng is not behind either. The serialized Sword Net Dust Silk in the Ta Kung Pao will also be published and listed on this day, and a signing ceremony will also be held. One is a young hero who had just debuted and wanted to step on the 4 great talents to become gods, while the other 2 are big shots who have already become gods since their debut. 3 people held a new book signing ceremony in Xiangjiang on the same day, and the ultimate winner has sparked heated discussions among the media and citizens. It also spread Li Jianhui's fame from Xiangjiang to Baodao, and even some martial arts novel fans in Southeast Asia know his name and Kunlun. August 1st was originally an ordinary day for Xiangjiang, but due to the public opinion these days, the major newspapers and TV stations in Xiangjiang began to be busy early on, and even some large newspapers and the 3 major TV stations sent multiple interview teams. A large number of martial arts fans gathered in Central, Causeway Bay, Mong Kok, and Xiangjiang, hoping to meet their idols face-to-face and obtain a signed novel. Not to mention the grandeur of Central and Causeway Bay, Mong Kok Sanlian Bookstore had a signing event that only started at 9 a.m. Before 8 a.m., over 500 Kunlun book fans gathered outside the bookstore. At the same time, Wireless, Lida, Jai, Oriental Daily, Sing Tao Daily, Ming Pao and others have also conducted interviews again. As time passed by, more and more book enthusiasts were outside the bookstore. In order to ensure the safety of the citizens, the Kowloon police station rarely arranged for security officers to be on duty outside the Sonlian bookstore. Just as Li Jianhui got off the car, he heard waves of enthusiastic shouts coming from afar, with memories of 2 lifetimes, and deep down he was still excited. In his past life, he was just a small person at the bottom. While reading novels by internet giants, he also tried to write a few books himself, but unfortunately, few people paid attention to them. Now, although he has plagiarized later classics, no one can say that he is plagiarizing here. This Kunlun book is his work. Whether it's because of media hype or for the sake of hype from Oriental daily and publishing houses, at least at this moment, he is qualified to be compared to the 4 great talents, as well as giants such as Gu Long and Liang Yusheng. Facing his book friends and multiple media reporters, Li Jianhui said excitedly, "Thank you very much to all the book friends and journalist friends for coming to participate in this signing event." This speech was specially prepared for him by the Oriental Daily yesterday, with the aim of ensuring that there will be significant errors in the signing today. Unfortunately, the plan cannot keep up with the changes. Major media outlets have been waiting here for a long time, not for this uniform signing event. As soon as Li Jianhui finished speaking, a reporter from Tsingtao Daily immediately spoke up and said, "Li Sheng, at this moment, Central and Causeway Bay are also holding signing ceremonies, and like your works, they are all martial arts works. I wonder what your opinion is on this. Whether it's Gu Long or Liang Yusheng, they are both masters in the martial arts novel world, with many beloved works by martial arts fans and a large number of loyal fans supporting them. I believe that Blue Blood Washing Silver Gun and Sword Net Dust Silk can achieve good sales results." This answer is obviously not what the journalists want. The reporter from TVB spoke up and said, "Li Sheng, how do you think about the 3 books that went on sale today? Can Kunlun surpass the other 2 books?" The reporters present quieted down and waited for Li Jianhui's answer. They believed that no matter what response it was, it would be a popular material. Li Jianhui was naturally aware of the thoughts of the journalists present, and he was also willing to let them do as he wished. It is impossible to say that Gu Long and Liang Yusheng have no opinion in their hearts about the signing meeting held today. You should know that the Kunlun novel will be published and sold on August 1st, and a signing ceremony will be held. These 2 people also chose this day later, with the intention of hitting him in the face. Since the other party doesn't give him face, Li Jianhui naturally doesn't need to show him respect. I have great respect for the 2 masters and wish them great success in their novels. I have great confidence in Kunlun and believe that this year's Xiangjiang martial arts novels will be the era of Kunlun. At this time, Li Jianhui appeared somewhat fearless of tigers as a newborn calf, and even somewhat reckless in his youth. However, the reporters present did not care about these things, and what they most wanted to see was Li Jianhui's attitude. If there is no competition, no contradiction, how can their newspapers and news be read, how can they have popularity, and how can they become a topic of discussion for citizens before and after tea? Only after truly becoming famous can one experience the pain of becoming famous, especially when signing. The excitement at the beginning gradually calms down, and in the end, the sign becomes numb. At the end, Li Jianhui felt that his right hand was already stiff. Fortunately, today's results were quite impressive. In just one morning, this bookstore alone sold 1625 copies. At a price of 15 Hong Kong dollars per book, Li Jianhui receives a 10% royalty and earns a profit of 1.5 Hong Kong dollars per book sold. In just one morning at this store, he earned over 2,400 Hong Kong dollars. This is only the first volume. Kunlun has a total of 5 volumes, which is undoubtedly a big gold mine for many people. Li Jianhui is very clear that this is mainly due to Chen Zhiyong's glory. If it weren't for this relationship, how could Dongfang Daily give him such high treatment? Capital has always been bloodthirsty. If it weren't for Chen Zhiyong, as a newcomer, it would be good if this book could earn tens of thousands of yuan, and there would be no copyright income behind it. Farewell to the bookstore manager and deputy general manager of the publishing house, Li Jianhui, accompanied by Chen Sini, got into the Chen family's sedan and left this noisy place. The reporters from Xiangjiang media have also returned to the newspaper and television station, and there are too many news worth their special attention today. The competition between newcomers and celebrities, whether it is the latter wave pushing the former wave or whether it is the old spicy, is the focus of public attention. And the sales volume at this morning's signing meeting will determine the victory of the first stage among the three parties. The contract has been sent out, please collect it. Recommended. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Toru Iwatani. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Toru Iwatani. After the signing ceremony, Li Jianhui suddenly disappeared without a trace, and reporters from various media outlets in Xiangjiang did not find Li Jianhui's presence in his new home or even in Tiaojingling. This has disappointed the citizens and media who want to watch the excitement. Li Jianhui, who won the opening game, did not step forward and stomped on Gulong and Liang Yusheng. There was no competition from several sides, and the news popularity slowly faded. These journalists were unaware that on the afternoon of the signing ceremony, Li Jianhui and Chen Sini flew to Tokyo with the accompaniment of 2 bodyguards. Writing novels is just a means for him to accumulate starting funds. Now that he has enough funds, he doesn't care much about this aspect in his heart. Huihong Game Company is the focus of his development. After 3 days, Li Jianhui finally made an appointment with his designated company leader, Toru Iwatani. Although this person's fame in the RB gaming industry is slightly lower than that of Junpei Yokoi and Mao Miyamoto, he is also talented and has extremely high talent in management. The era of arcade glory is approaching, and at this time, Toru Iwatani has just stepped out of the university gate. He is just an intern who has just joined Nangong Dream Company, not even a formal employee. Listening to the invitation from the general manager of a gaming company, Toru Iwatani, who had just entered society, was still very excited in his heart. After finishing work in the afternoon, I specially organized my image before heading towards the agreed restaurant. After seeing the main leader, Tetsuya Iwatani's excited heart instantly became cold. The game company's development in the desert of Xiangjiang is nothing more than a young man who has just turned 16. He has no confidence in this company, and he is even less willing to waste his youth in it. Li Jianhui was naturally aware of his shortcomings on his side. Seeing the expression on Toru Iwatani's face, he smiled and said, I know that Huihong Games Company cannot be compared to Nangong Dream Company at the moment, but I believe that in 1 year, Huihong Games Company will become one of the world-renowned game development companies. As a translator hired by Li Jianhui, Zhou Jiai repeated these words in Japanese to help Toru Iwatani understand Li Jianhui's meaning. If he was just disappointed before, then now he has no intention of joining this company at all. In his opinion, Li Jianhui is too arrogant. He believes that this must be a wealthy son of a wealthy family in Xiangjiang. Establishing this company is just a temporary interest and he has no idea about the gaming industry. Mr. Li, thank you very much for your interest in me. It's just that my hometown is hard to leave, and I have no plans to leave Nangong Dream Games Company. Listening to Zhou Jiai's translation, Li Jianhui exclaimed in his heart that he truly did not have the fate of the protagonist. In his previous life's novels, when the protagonist appeared, the plot of various elites immediately joining him was not staged. In the past 3 days, he has also been recruiting game development talents on RB, and has recruited more than 10 more one after another without any loopholes. Iwatani Toru and Miyamoto Mao, 2 big shots who are currently not valued by Namiya Dream and Nintendo, only invited Iwatani Toru out, but Miyamoto Mao directly refused his invitation. In order to strive to bring Iwatsuki into his company, Li Jianhui presented his trump card for this trip, which was one of Iwatsuki's classic works in his past life, the Pac-Man. After explaining the overall framework of this game, Li Jianhui smiled and asked Iwatani, if you were to lead the development of this game, would it be possible to make it? Do you think this game would be loved by a large number of game fans? Toru Iwatani was still in a state of shock, to the extent that he didn't even hear Zhou Jiayi's first translation clearly. He didn't expect the 16-year-old boy in front of him to be a genius in game development. Although the game had not yet been developed, he felt that it would definitely succeed. At this point, he felt that it was not arrogant for Li Jianhui to become a world-renowned game company a year later. With this game, coupled with this genius at the helm, it was comparable to Nangong Dream, and catching up with Sega and Atari was not a fantasy. After Zhou Jiayi translated again, Iwatani Toru was somewhat surprised and said, Mr. Li, the overall framework of this game is already in place. Anyone who has a basic understanding of game development can make it. There is no problem with this game under your supervision. I am currently just a newcomer to society, why are you willing to give me this opportunity to become famous? Toru Iwatani has some confusion in his heart. Li Jianhui has always lived in Xiangjiang. Even if he came to RB to dig people at this time, he should still be a well-known senior, at least a deputy minister level figure in the game development department. He believes that with this game framework, many seniors would be willing to join Huihong Games Company. But Li Jianhui did not seek the backbone and middle and senior management of major game companies, and instead chose to entrust this game to an unknown figure like him, which is not very reasonable. He is not Li Jianhui, nor is he a descendant of later generations. Naturally, he is not clear about his future reputation and influence in the gaming industry, so he cannot understand why Li Jianhui is letting many big shots come to him without looking for him. Mr. Iwatani Toru, you can see this as a guide from heaven. Although you are currently unknown, many years later, you will be one of the legendary figures in the gaming industry. What Huihong Games Company needs is an elite like you. As for Li Jianhui's response, Zhou Jiayi was full of roast, and he didn't believe this explanation. On the contrary, it is Toru Iwatani. Some believe that in his view, apart from this, it is really inexplicable that Li Jianhui invited him to join the glorious game company, not only to serve as the company's development manager, but also to lead the development of the Pac-Man game. Faced with the temptation of fame and fortune, coupled with Li Jianhui offering a salary far higher than what Nangong Dream Company offered him, Toru Iwatani ultimately chose to agree to go to Xiangjiang and join Huihong Game Company. Upon receiving this response, Li Jianhui was very happy in his heart. With this person, there will be no problem with the development of Huihong Games Company in its initial stage. As for Tetsuya Iwatani's official start date of September 1st, Li Jianhui doesn't care, as the Xiangjiang office area hasn't been fully renovated yet. As for Toru Iwatani's retraction, Li Jianhui is not too worried. Firstly, both sides will sign a confidentiality agreement for the Pac-Man game framework. Secondly, Li Jianhui has a plethora of classic games in his mind. Using the classic games of Tetsuya Iwatani to explore Tetsuya Iwatani, even if he loses this game, it is still worth it. The current issue with Iwatani Toru's character is not a big loss for Huihong Games Company. This is a good opportunity to test his character, and he can also be reused in the future. After Toru Iwatani left, Li Jianhui said to Zhou Jiayi beside him, Miss Zhou, tomorrow morning, Cindy and I will return to Xiangjiang. Would you be willing to join Huihong Games Company? Because there are many RB employees in the company's development department, it is necessary for Li Jianhui to equip the company with bilingual talents who understand Cantonese and Japanese. And in the future, he will often deal with RB companies, and Li Jianhui also needs such talents around him. Zhou Jiayi's translation work in the past few days has satisfied him, and he also hopes that this talent can join Huihong Games Company. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Huihong Game Company. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Huihong Game Company. Because the office area was just a simple decoration, it was completed in just 1 week. The establishment and operation of the company are silent, and apart from its own people, no one in Xiangjiang cares about this small company. Li Jianhui did not wait until Tetsuya Iwatani arrived to officially operate the company. He took out Tetris and asked the current development department personnel to carry out research and development. During this period, coupled with being just an unknown small company, although various departmental frameworks have been established, there are only 3 or 2 kittens inside, and there are no well-known talents at all. The only figure at the level of a big shot, Toru Iwatani, has not yet arrived, and Li Jianhui can only push the duck to come up and accept some management. Although Huihong Game Company is small, it has all 5 internal departments. Technical Development Department, Finance Department, Administration Department, Sales Department, Human Resources Department, Public Relations Department, and Procurement Department. Li Jianhui himself has been appointed as the General Manager and Human Resources Manager, Yan Guosh has been appointed as the Technical Development Manager, and Wang Haichuan has been appointed as the Deputy General Manager of the Technical Development Department. Zhang Qijuan serves as the Manager of the Ministry of Finance, Huang Guangxing as the Manager of the Sales Department, Su Jiangting as the Manager of the Administration Department, and Zhou Jiai as the Manager of the Public Relations Department and the Purchasing Department. Although each one is a manager, except for 2 people under Huang Guangxing, the others are all bare staff commanders, and there are no available soldiers under their command. Of course, the Technology Development Department is an exception. As the core of the company, this department has the most personnel, exceeding half of the current number. It's not that Li Jianhui doesn't want to hire people, it's just that Huihong Game Company is too small now and doesn't need too many personnel. We need to expand our recruitment in the future, at least after the first game is released, that will be the time for Huihong Game Company to make a leap in development. At the first senior management meeting of the company, Li Jianhui, who was sitting in the main seat, was full of energy, marking the beginning of his industry's development. Li Jianhui passionately said, "Today is the day when the glorious game company was officially established, and it will also be an important symbol of the future development of the game industry. Our Huihong Game Company is destined to become the world's top game development company." Decades later, when citizens talk about games, the first thing they think of is Huihong Game Company, and they will think of our series of classic games. I believe that in the future, you will feel proud to join Huihong Games Company today and will be moved by the most correct thing you have done in your life. Li Jianhui's speech left the senior executives present somewhat stunned, as they had never seen such a proud boss before. The company has just been established, with only a few dozen employees and no experience in game development. On this basis, it made Li Jianhui shout out to stand at the top of the game development world. They all doubted whether joining this company was the right thing to do, and the boss was clearly a lunatic. I don't know if I will feel proud to join the glorious game company in the future, but now some senior executives have already felt a little regret about it. Originally a game development desert, Xiangjiang, coupled with an arrogant and crazy boss, finds it difficult for them to have confidence in the company's future development. Looking at the expressions of the senior executives, Li Jianhui smiled and said, "Don't believe it. After 3 to 5 years, if you are recalling what I said today, you will definitely think it is a miraculous prophecy. I won't mention the future of the company. Next, let me assign our company's recent task, which is to develop the game Xiangjiang Cube. All departments are focusing on this project. I request samples to be made before October 1st and officially launched for market sales in November." Deputy Manager of the Development Department, Wang Haichuan, immediately felt heavy pressure. Li Jianhui gave too little time, and a mature game often takes 1 or 2 years, or even several years, to open. However, Li Jianhui only gave 50 days for development, 30 days for testing, and preparation for launch, which in his opinion is almost impossible to accomplish. Li Sheng, is this time too tight? Although the development of Xiangjiang Square is relatively simple, there are not many follow-up programs. Li Jianhui is also aware of Wang Haichuan's words, but in order to catch up with the Western Game Expo held in Los Angeles on October 30th, he can only shorten the development time of Xiangjiang blocks. At present, there is no fame or channel, and this exhibition is the best opportunity for Xiangjiang Square to open up the market. Li Jianhui absolutely does not allow such a good opportunity to be missed. I know time is tight, so all departments are working together to take separate actions. While developing in the technical development department, the procurement department needs to purchase the arcade hardware back to save time for subsequent assembly and testing. During this period, I will also stay in the company to coordinate this project. The boss said that on this matter, the senior management can only grit their teeth and ensure that the project is completed according to the specified time frame. They only hope that Li Jianhui is particularly familiar with this game, which can significantly reduce game development and testing time. Most of the senior executives who joined Huihong Game Company are young people who have graduated for less than 2 years and are not big shots. Although the boss is young and reckless, they are willing to take a gamble. Anyway, currently they don't have a chance to enter a good company, and even if they fail, it's just a waste of 6 months of their youth. If, as the boss said before, Xiangjiang Cube can become popular overnight, then they will be the veterans of Huihong Games Company, with a qualitative leap in both their future and money prospects. Li Jianhui is very clear that some of the cakes that should be painted still need to be painted, only in this way can we stimulate the enthusiasm of our employees. Some reward measures were also announced at the meeting. As long as the development can be completed within the specified time, he does not mind giving a heavy reward. At this time, the bonus is the most energetic. Xiangjiang blocks are extremely simple and do not have much demand in many aspects, such as graphic design and scene design. If it weren't for 6 months to develop Pac-Man, Li Jianhui wouldn't dare to launch it into the market. These senior executives present are also aware that otherwise they would not have guaranteed to complete the samples in September, testing, and market sales preparation in October. As soon as I returned to my office, I heard the pleasant voice of Chen Sini. "Jianhui, how does it feel to be in charge of a company?" Looking at the pure and beautiful girl in front of him, Li Jianhui felt extremely comfortable in his heart. For the past decade or so, Chen Sini has been following him to work tirelessly for Huihong Games Company, witnessing the company's growth from scratch. If the previous behavior inherited the emotions from his previous memories, now Li Jianhui has also fallen in love with this girl. "Sini, this doesn't feel good. When you graduate in the future, you will be in charge of a company." There was still some interest in Chen Sini, but when she thought of her mother Su Guizhen's words, she chose to give up. In her opinion, after graduating, she married Jian Huizhen and settled down at home to help her husband and children. Li Jianhui is responsible for the outside affairs, she just needs to take care of the things at home. In Xiangjiang, where monogamy has only been established for a few years, the status of women is still relatively low, and wealthy ladies rarely interfere in the management of family industries. My parents say that Li Jianhui has a rift in his heart, and it's only a matter of time before he establishes a wealthy family. He needs to demand himself according to the standards of a wealthy lady, so as not to embarrass Jianhui in the future. Starting today, if there are no accidents, before listing, there will be 1 chapter in the morning, 1 chapter in the afternoon, and 1 chapter in the evening at 3 o'clock every day. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Ma's Banquet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Ma's Banquet. With the continuous efforts of the Xiangjiang Independent Commission Against Corruption, some people who go astray are constantly anxious, and the Ma brothers are one of them. Li Jianhui, who was busy with the affairs of the game company, received an invitation letter from the Ma family of Dongfang Daily. Considering the Ma family's previous care for him, he left the company early on the afternoon of August 20th, which was rare. I thought this evening party was a gathering of guests, but after Li Jianhui arrived, I realized that besides the Ma family, there were less than 10 people, including the president of Zhonghua Society, He Bin, 14K tycoon Gu Zhixiong, Xingyi En's helmsman Xiang Huayan, He Suizhi, the general manager of Industry and Commerce Daily, and Zheng Enbo, the president of Xiangjiang Times. To be honest, Li Jianhui is somewhat flattered. Currently, he is not on the stage compared to this group of people, and he doesn't understand why the Ma family invited him to attend such a banquet. The Ma brothers were very enthusiastic about Li Jianhui's arrival and personally introduced these big shots present to him. Li Jianhui himself is a bit too self-deprecating, not even aware that among tonight's guests, the Ma brothers are most interested in him. At this critical moment, the Ma family has already begun to deal with the industries of Xiangjiang in the hands of Ma Tingqiang, so that even if they have an accident, the industries on the Ma family's White Road can be preserved, and the Ma family can still establish a foothold in Xiangjiang. Among them, the important asset of the Ma family is the Oriental Daily Group. Today, the guests who can truly avoid negative impacts on the Ma family and achieve mutual benefit and win-win with the Ma family are Li Jianhui. The Ma brothers hope that Li Jianhui and Ma Tingqiang can become friends and allies, and that Li Jianhui's future works can cooperate with Oriental Daily. With Li Jianhui's demonic creative talent, as long as Dongfang Daily collaborates with him for a long time, the Ma brothers believe that even if they are not in Xiangjiang, Ma Tingqiang can still manage the Dongfang Daily Group well. At the beginning of the banquet, Ma Shizhen picked up the glass in his hand and said in a voice, "Thank you very much for coming to the banquet. I'll do it as a tribute first." Although he rarely drinks in this life, Li Jianhui couldn't afford to stage fright in such an occasion, and together with everyone, he drank the glass of wine in his hand. After 3 rounds of drinking and 5 flavors of dishes, Ma Shizhen has also entered the main topic of today's dinner, almost like a plea for mercy. The situation has changed, and after Ma Lihao became the governor, Xiangjiang is no longer our era. My brother and I are afraid that our days in Xiangjiang will not be many. I hope everyone can take care of Gu Tingqiang more while our brothers are away. This child is still young and has never been involved in our niche industries. Dongfang Daily Group will have Tingqiang take care of him in the future. Gu Zhixiong and Xiang Huayan have a feeling of rabbit death and fox sorrow. The Ma brothers are not living well, and their lives are not much better. Although they are temporarily fine, their subordinates are not doing well. The two of them are also willing to form a good relationship. Today, several parties agreed to take care of the Ma family. They believe that if they have something to do in the future, the Ma family will also take care of their own family. He Suizhi and Zheng Enbo also promised to strengthen cooperation between their newspapers and Dongfang Daily to promote common development between the two sides. He Bin also made a promise that as long as the development policy of Dongfang Daily remains unchanged, he will do his best to ensure the safety of Ma Tingqiang is not threatened. Li Jianhui is aware of the future development of Dongfang Daily, and has also read some news about Ma Tingqiang in his past life. After his father and uncle left Xiangjiang, he managed Dongfang Daily with great success and is indeed a worthy partner for cooperation. He also spoke up and said, "Thank you to Uncle Ma for being able to look up to me. In the future, Oriental Daily will be a priority partner for my industrial media promotion." Ma Shizhen smiled and asked, "Hui Zai, I heard that you recently established a game company. I wonder if you will continue to create novels." For the Ma family, they prefer Li Jianhui to specialize in novel creation, which is more powerful for the Oriental Daily. As for the game company, they do not believe that Li Jianhui can make any achievements, and there is no value for cooperation with the Ma family in this regard. Today, I invited Li Jianhui mainly in the hope of receiving a commitment about innovative novels from him. Unfortunately, the Ma brothers were not aware that Li Jianhui had traveled through time, let alone that he no longer had the heart to continue plagiarizing classic novels from later generations and was unwilling to act as a thief. So today, the Ma brothers were destined to be disappointed. Li Jianhui responded without any hesitation, "Uncle Ma, my thoughts are currently focused on the game company, and I have no plans to create a novel at the moment. If I write a new book in the future, I will give priority to cooperating with Dongfang Daily." Seeing that Li Jianhui had no intention of writing a new novel, the Ma brothers could only let go of some of their inner thoughts. At this point, they were already struggling to protect themselves, and with Chen Jiong standing behind Li Jianhui, they couldn't force it. At present, with this friendship in hand, after Li Jianhui's future entrepreneurship is shattered, I believe he will eventually return to novel creation. At that time, with today's promise, Oriental Daily can tie this genius martial arts novelist to its own worship. Young people should have this kind of breakthrough. Uncle Ma wishes you another success in the gaming industry. Today is not Li Jianhui's home ground, and Ma Shizhen cannot talk to him for a long time. After a few compliments from both sides, Ma Shizhen started chatting with Huizhi again. You should know that Huizhi not only represents himself, but also to a certain extent represents the He family of Xiangjiang. He is the leader of the first generation of the four major families of Xiangjiang and has a great influence in Xiangjiang. If Ma Tingqiang had the care of the He family, as long as he didn't do anything illegal, no one would have touched him in Xiangjiang. As a younger generation, Li Jianhui often only listens to the conversations of the big shots, and he is also unwilling to make too many speeches in such occasions. His identity in this life makes him a bit sensitive. The big shots present today all belong to the same camp, and there is also an official figure like He Bin who only knows how to say too much but loses it. In his past life, he grew up under the red flag and naturally leaned towards the mainland. Since God had brought him to this era, he naturally did not want some events to repeat themselves. In the face of right and wrong, he still had a clear distinction. He is not a saint, but he will never become a notorious villain. Without the support of his motherland, no matter how much wealth he has, he is just a rootless duckweed. Of course, as the saying goes, one must have a heart of harm and a heart of prevention. Some necessary precautions are still necessary. And Xiangjiang is a good place, backed by the mainland of China, with a different economic and social situation from the mainland, which allows it to develop without too many restrictions. Taking Xiangjiang as its foundation and relying on the mainland market, it is able to open up its hands and compete with European, American, Japanese, and Korean companies for markets in various regions. It's also these big shots present who are not clear about Li Jianhui's ideas, otherwise it would be good not to promote him, but not to suppress him. A dinner party didn't end until late at night, and the Ma brothers paved the way for Ma Tingqiang, allowing the Ma family to continue developing in Xiangjiang. Li Jianhui has also made more connections today, although our relationship is still in the acquaintance stage. I believe that with the development of time, our relationship will become closer. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Qixi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Qixi. Magpies build bridges, couples meet on the 7th day of July, which is the Valentine's Day of the Chinese nation. Today falls on Sunday. Even though the project is tight and the tasks are heavy, Li Jianhui did not let the company employees work overtime, allowing everyone to have a happy holiday. He was also kicked out of his room by Lu Xiaowan early on this day, allowing her to spend this special day with Chen Sini. Outside the gate of the Chen family villa, Chen Sini, dressed in a pink dress, had been waiting here long ago for Li Jianhui's arrival. At an age full of steadfastness and fantasy in love, Chen Sini hopes to be with Li Jianhui every day. If it weren't for various reasons and being a student herself, she wouldn't be willing to part ways with Li Jianhui for a moment. She has never forgotten the years when she lived in Tiaojingling as a child. Whenever she was bullied by her peers, Li Jianhui always stood in front of her, protecting herself. As she grew older, she also understood a lot. She had never been dissatisfied with her parents setting a doll for her when she was not sensible. She doesn't know what love really feels like, but she knows very well in her heart that she is willing to become Li Jianhui's wife. If there were other girls around Li Jianhui, she would be very sad. The sedan that Li Jianhui was riding in had just stopped. Chen Sini didn't wait for Li Jianhui to get off the car, so she opened the rear seat door and sat in, closing the door by hand. A set of actions flowed smoothly, without the sweet words of the male protagonist getting off the car and the female protagonist in the romance drama. Then, like a gentleman, he opened the car door for the female protagonist and asked her to get on the car. The two childhood sweethearts who had little guesses did not need that polite procedure, and Chen Sini was not a proud and charming woman either. Although Chen Sini is a delicate and beautiful girl, she has been learning Wing Chun from Xiangjiang since childhood with Li Jianhui, and her combat ability is not weak at all. Every time Li Jianhui is with Qixi, it is a huge test for him. The girl's affectionate actions always stimulate Li Jianhui. The young man, full of blood and vigor, repeatedly suppressed his desires with his own rationality in order not to cause harm to the girl. Although the girl is already 16 years old, some things are not impossible. I don't know if it is due to the influence of his predecessor's memory. In his heart, Li Jianhui regards this matter very important and has no plans to go further in the short term. Letting Qixi hold her right hand and suppress some of her wild thoughts, Li Jianhui asked softly, "Cini, do you have any places you want to visit today? I'll listen to you, anywhere is fine." Seeing that Qixi had pushed back her choice, Li Jianhui could only think about today's itinerary. Xiangjiang is very small here and there are not many places to visit, especially after Li Jianhui excluded shopping. Central, Mongkok, Causeway Bay and other places are definitely not accessible. In his past life, he deeply understood how terrifying a woman's talent for shopping could be. Qixi, this girl, had exceptional talent, and Li Jianhui would not suffer from it. Currently, only Lichi and Xiangjiang Ocean Park are more famous in Xiangjiang, especially Xiangjiang Ocean Park, which only started operating at the beginning of this year and has a particularly strong popularity. After asking for Qixi's opinion, Li Jianhui instructed the driver to head towards Xiangjiang Ocean Park. The superposition of Sunday and Qixi festival has also led to more people than usual in the ocean park, which is not too crowded to describe here. After buying the ticket, Li Jianhui held Qixi's hand and slowly walked towards the interior of the park with the flow of people. Li Jianhui, who didn't appreciate the cells much, felt the atmosphere more, and as for these marine creatures, he didn't have much interest. On the contrary, Qixi was very interested in these rarely seen creatures and enjoyed watching them all the way. Infected by a beautiful woman, Li Jianhui is also in a happy mood today, often with a smile on his face. There is a reason to say that Xiangjiang Shao is not without reason. Even today when the crowd is surging, he can still meet many acquaintances. For example, Guan Zhehui, who is one of the school beauties along with Qixi, and she, who is 1 year younger than Qixi, is currently an innocent and romantic girl. Because she grew up in a celebrity family, it also made her constantly want to be the center of attention and attract people around her. Qixi and her classmates are both school beauties. Due to their academic performance, one is in the top 5 and the other is indeed in the middle of the school, which has led to Qixi's reputation constantly suppressing Guan Zhehui. This has also made Guan Zhehui quite dissatisfied with Qixi. It's also good if two people are not in the same grade or class, and their relationship is not too bad, but it's certain that they don't look at each other, such as the two people they meet at this time. It has to be said that in terms of eloquence, Qixi really can't compare to Guan Zhehui. When they face each other, Qixi is clearly at a disadvantage. Seeing that she couldn't speak, Qixi snorted coldly and said, "Guan Zhehui, I'm going to accompany Jian Huij on a trip today, so I don't have time to argue with you." After speaking, he pulled Li Jianhui and prepared to leave here. Guan Zhehui had a rare opportunity to suppress Qixi, feeling quite happy. When Qixi turned around and left, she didn't forget to mock her. After being stirred up by Guan Zhehui, Qixi clearly lost her playful nature. After taking a quick look, she pulled Li Jianhui away from the ocean park. Qixi, who was sitting in the car, clearly felt uneasy and said to Li Jianhui, "Brother Jianhui, don't worry about Guan Zhehui's words. I don't care if you are a celebrity or a wealthy family, I will follow you." Li Jianhui, who has memories of his past life, did not take the quarrel between the two girls seriously. He is well aware that in the past 2 years, Qixi and Guan Zhehui have been arguing not once or twice. Qixi is a top student and has attracted countless fans thanks to her high looks and good grades. Guan Zhehui, on the other hand, is a sociable school belle who also has many supporters thanks to her celebrity family background and her own talents. The two have a very high reputation in school, which also leads to poor relations between the two parties, and there is often a verbal conflict between them. After all, they are just girls, and they don't have as many concerns as adults, nor do they consider making the other person unhappy. In Li Jianhui's heart, the relationship between Chen Xini and Guan Jiehui was like a fight between two children, with nothing worth cherishing. As for Guan Jiehui's sarcasm, he didn't take it seriously at all. His future was not something that Guan Jiehui could set with just one word. He smiled and said, "Xini, Brother Jianhui knows your intentions. Don't worry, Brother Jianhui will not let you suffer. The Xiangjiang family is not a big deal, and in the future, Brother Jianhui will be a man who wants to establish a world-class family." Chen Xini's mood immediately improved a lot upon hearing this. Although she felt that Li Jianhui was talking big, she was still very happy, indicating that Li Jianhui cared about her in his heart. "I believe in Jianhuai. In the future, I will be the wife of the top wealthy family in Xiangjiang. Let's see how Guan Jiehui faces me then." Driver Lu Yi suppressed his inner smile as he listened to the words of the young lady and the future uncle. In his opinion, these were just two young children who had not grown up. As for Li Jianhui's words, he only treated them as children's arrogant words without knowing the truth, and did not believe that Li Jianhui could fulfill them. Not to mention the world's top families, it is difficult to climb the mountain of just the 4 major foreign companies in Xiangjiang. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Hometown that cannot be returned. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Hometown that cannot be returned. Like Li Minglin, Xiangjiang is from Sichuan, so Chen Xini likes Sichuan cuisine, especially boiled pork slices and mapo tofu. Sichuan restaurants in Xiangjiang are not common, and the more famous ones are also the Chongqing Sichuan restaurant in Tsim Sha Sui. Its signature dishes include kung pao chicken, spicy chicken, boiled pork slices, twice-cooked pork and other famous Sichuan dishes. The two young people were relatively economical. They just ordered their favorite boiled meat slices, mapo tofu, and a tomato egg soup. The plot of sprinkling dog food during meals will no longer be repeated. Today is destined to be a heartbreaking day for single dogs. Eating spicy and delicious food, Chen Xini couldn't help but talk to Li Jianhui about that distant place. Whether Chen Xini or Li Jianhui, although they often hear Xiangjiang mention their hometown, they only know one place name and have no impression of what their hometown really looks like. Although Li Jianhui was also from Sichuan and Sichuan in his past life, he grew up in an orphanage in the urban area of Yuzhou. He didn't know much about the hometown of Xiangjiang and Li Minglin, Guoqing City, and he knew nothing about Taiping Township in Guoqing County. Li Minglin and Xiangjiang are both from Taiping Township, except that Li Minglin is from Shibankyo Village and Xiangjiang is from Simakyo Village. The two were of the same age and were forcibly conscripted to join the army in the same year. They went to the battlefield and came to Xiangjiang together. This is also why Li Jianhui and Chen Xini arranged a child marriage, and later Xiangjiang took care of the Li family so well. "Jianhui, do you think we have a chance to visit our hometown?" Li Jianhui naturally knew why Chen Xini asked such a question, because Xiangjiang media publicity, coupled with some problems in both Li Jianhui and Chen Xini's identity, had great concerns about returning to their hometown, worried that their own safety could not be guaranteed. Xiangjiang left home in 42 years, and it has been 35 years in a blink of an eye. His parents are already old and may even be gone. It is impossible to say that he does not miss them in his heart. It's just that his current identity cannot be returned, and he can't even be contacted. The changes in mainland China over the years have made him even more afraid to let his children return, as he is worried about letting his children fall into the trap. Li Minglin was also full of obsession with his hometown. Even when he was dying, he requested Xiangjiang to bring his ashes home. Until now, Li Minglin's ashes have not been buried. For people like Xiangjiang and Li Minglin, although Xiangjiang is good, it is not their home. Only the small mountain village on the land of Sichuan and Sichuan is their home. For 3 whole years, dozens of battles, countless brothers fell from before their eyes, and they sacrificed their blood and lives to protect their homes. And only then did Xiangjiang, the group of survivors, realize how painful and sorrowful it was to be unable to return to the home they had once protected with their lives. This kind of emotion is something that Li Jianhui cannot empathize with. Xiangjiang and the others are relatively good, at least still living on the land of our motherland. Thinking about the expedition army, the outcome is even more tragic than theirs. Li Jianhui smiled and said, "Cinny, don't worry. In less than 2 years, we can go back and see our hometown in person, and taste the authentic Sichuan cuisine." It is now August 1977, and it is estimated that the great man has once again resumed his position. The spring of the mainland's economic takeoff has been set in motion, and the horn of reform and opening up is about to sound. At that time, he and Chen Sini can freely enter the mainland and visit the great rivers. As for Xiangjiang, he may not have many opportunities in his lifetime. He has been deeply involved and cannot get off the ship just because he wants to. You should know that the establishment of 14K was not simple at the beginning. Xiangjiang has made great achievements in his current position and has been recognized by the forces behind him. Otherwise, he would not have become a spokesperson for Yong. This also leads to his identity being much more sensitive than Li Jianhui and Chen Sini, and at least in the short term, he is unlikely to cross the Luohu port. Jian Huaij, you are becoming more and more boastful now. Have you not read any news about that area in the past few months? The situation there may not change in the short term. As a top student, Chen Sini still pays some attention to current affairs. Although the report by Xiangjiang Daily may be somewhat one-sided, some important information is still true. At present, major newspapers in Xiangjiang, including Ta Kung Pao, which leans towards the mainland, have not reported any significant changes in the development policy of the mainland. In her understanding, this policy will continue for at least 5 years, waiting for the next session to see if there is any hope of change. This is not just Chen Sini's opinion, countless elites in Xiangjiang believe so. No one would think that there could be too much change in the short term there. Only Li Jianhui, who has come from later generations, understands how great the changes in the mainland will be in the coming years. A magnificent picture is about to unfold, and a market with a population of over 1 billion will be opened to the outside world. Countless low-end industries in Xiangjiang will be shifting towards the mainland, and the relationship between the two sides of the Taiwan Strait and the 3 regions will continue to deepen. It will no longer be difficult for the fallen leaves to take root. You, Jianhui, never boast in front of you. After 2 years, when you graduate from Form 7, I will travel to the mainland with you. Take a look at the Forbidden City and the Great Wall in the capital, take a look at Baoning, one of the 4 ancient cities, visit the Jiaoling River and Yangtze River in Yuzhou, and see the White Pagoda and Xishan in Guocheng. At this moment, Chen Sini's heart was filled with longing, and she even felt that it should be her honeymoon journey with Li Jianhui. She has only seen the Great Wall and the Forbidden City through images, and it is not yet clear whether it is true. Being able to personally climb the Great Wall and enter the Forbidden City is a very meaningful thing, especially with the company of Li Jianhui. Of course, in Chen Sini's opinion, this is something that cannot be achieved in the short term. Let's talk about it in her spare time, and now it's more practical to let Li Jianhui accompany her shopping. It's rare for Li Jianhui to spend a day with her today. How could she give up such an opportunity? It doesn't matter whether she buys or not, she mainly likes it. If Xiangjiang is ranked first in Central, then Mongkok is definitely ranked second. If purely in terms of commerce, Mongkok is even better than Central. On the streets of Mongkok, a pair of handsome men and beautiful women caught the attention of countless passers-by. The beautiful girl was in high spirits, while the handsome little man holding a large number of items had an expression of being unattainable. The beautiful girl would occasionally say, "Jian Huaij, let's finish browsing this store and we'll go to Jiahe Cinema." Unfortunately, Li Jianhui has already been immune to these words, as he has said the same thing more than 5 times today. Chen Sini not only wandered around, but also fully utilized her talent for buying and selling. The most important thing is that this girl is not short of money and has enough funds to pay the bill. Li Jianhui has now completely become Chen Sini's porter, carrying more than 10 bags in both hands. Although not heavy, it is a great test for him. He has decided that after entering this store, he must refuse to continue shopping, even if he wants to, at least put the items in his hand back in the car. End of this chapter.